public. Andrew Fordyce, MBE, will take prayers.
BBC has a radio programme called Last Word, and the great and the good who've passed away have their lives summed up. Friday just gone noted the life of the veteran MP Lord Field. Dedicated his life to welfare reform, but notably, Frank Field had an ability to work with all parties, had strongly held beliefs, and a heart for the poor. I wonder if he can be an inspiration for us. Lord, in an age which brings division, help us to build bridges and work for good. Thank you for strongly held convictions. Thank you for those we represent. Thank you for all those we've worked with this past year. As we look to the year to come, pray that you'd help us to look beyond labels and differences and work for the greater good.
Thank you, councillors. Members of the public, please be seated. Some water, please. Thank you, councillors and members of the public. Item 1, apologies for absence. Mr. Davidson.
Thank you, Chairman. I have apologies for absence from Councillor Wiggins, Councillor Morrison and Councillor Land. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more? Thank you. Item number 2, retiring chairman's announcements. I have a few announcements. I have received a letter of thanks from Her Royal Highness thanking me for my letter to the Princess of Wales. I think it was right to do so. Myself sent a letter to Princess of Wales and His Majesty King Charles III. I also attended the new Starbucks in Clacton. Lovely coffee and cake, and as people know, I like my cake. I hosted a charity quiz in Alresford at the Pointer Pub, and all monies raised there went to my chairman's charities of the year. And Councillor Casey and I have been invited to Germany, the town of Biberach, this weekend, our town twinning town. So Councillor Casey and I are flying off on Friday to, we will pass on your best wishes to our opposite numbers in Biberach in Germany. And that are my chairman's announcements today. Item number 3, election of chairman of the council for 2024-2025 municipal year. Do we have any nominations, please? Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to nominate Councillor Dan Casey. I'll be on in a minute. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Baker. Thank you. Do we have any other nominations? No. I'll go to Mr. Davison. We go to the vote. Oh, Councillor Bray.
Thank you, Chairman. Just before you go to the vote, I did just want to support the nomination of the leader of the council. Having known Councillor Casey for quite some while, and I have, I've always found him to be a very genuine and nice guy. We don't.
Councillor Bray, can I just stop for a moment, please? Just clarification.
Sorry, if I may, because having had the proposer and seconder, then the proposer is going to make a nominee speech, and then it'll be open for others to make that. So hold that for Councillor Bray, and they'll come back to you.
I will come back to you, Councillor Bray. I'm going to Councillor Stevenson.
We got there in the end, Chairman. Thank God I don't have to follow Councillor Bray. Members of the Council, I rise tonight to formally propose the nomination of Councillor Dan Casey for the esteemed position of Chairman of our Council. Councillor Casey, Dan as he prefers to be known, possesses a wealth of experience, dedication and commitment to his community that makes him exceptionally suited to this role. Dan was elected in 2010 by-election, re-elected again in 2011 with the all-out district election. Dan was unfortunately knocked out in the 2015 election on a national issue. We all know the Brexit vote took centre stage that year. As testament to Dan, he put his hat in the ring again in 2019, taking the majority of votes, which echoed his victory in 2023 last year as well. Throughout his tenure as a council member, Dan has acted with the good of the residents of his ward and for the greater good of Tendring in general. Dan has many accolades under his belt, such as Neighbourhood Watch work, where he has received one of their top awards, and is chairman of the Tendring Transport, and the governor at the local primary school, Frobisher in West Clacton. However, what Dan is probably best known for is his work with the armed forces, especially veterans. Dan is the president of the Royal British Legion and has worked on many veteran causes in his time, and it was an absolute honour last year to appoint him as Tendring Armed Forces Champion. It doesn't stop there. For the last 16 years, Dan has run a quiz night, raising funds for a plethora of organisations in need. Too many to list tonight. These days, he can be found volunteering for Parkrun, showing once again his persistence in turning up nearly every week. So much so that the local participants have affectionately labelled the place where Dan stands as Dan's Corner. It would be remiss of me to have said all these wonderful things about Dan without acknowledging the sacrifices that his patient wife, Eve, has made with her unwavering support. With all that I have said, I have every confidence that Dan will serve the Council with distinction, diplomacy and fairness. So I urge my fellow Council members to support his nomination and trust Councillor Casey with the responsibilities of Chairman. Together, under his guidance, I am confident that we will continue to thrive and uphold the values that define this Council.
Thank you, Councillor Stevenson. Councillor Baker?
Thank you, Chair. What can I add to what the leader has said? A fine man, and his work with the veterans is unsurpassed, I believe. I think he will be a good chairman and will lead us forward this time onwards. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Bray?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm always happy to defer to the Leader of the Council. It's the right thing to do. I think the Leader of the Council put that across incredibly well, well supported by Councillor Baker. I think it's fair to say, though, I sit on the opposite bench to Councillor Casey most of the time, and we don't agree on everything politically. I think it's fair to say that. However, I've always found Councillor Casey to be extremely fair, and as we have what is quite a diverse council, as in there are many groups here, it's the right thing, in my opinion, to have an independent, fair-minded gentleman in the chairman, as chairman of our council. And so I will 100% be supporting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Bray. Next councillor, Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to add my support to Councillor Casey in the nomination to become chairman. In my year as chairman, my charity was the Armed Forces and Veterans, and I got to work with Councillor Casey quite often, and I've seen firsthand the great and fantastic work that he does in supporting veterans, and I know I will be forever grateful to Councillor Casey for the work that in providing the standards for my father's funeral, and I know that unbeknown to many, the British Legion and Councillor Casey and his colleagues support veterans in their hour of need, and particularly, if they have, they look after them as much as they can and honour them in their funerals as well. So, Councillor Casey, I will look forward to working with you. You have my full support, and hopefully, I can work with you in supporting our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Do you have any more discussions? No. We go to the vote, please. All in favour of Councillor Casey as the new chairman of Tendring District Council? And those against? Abstentions? There were 29 votes in favour of Councillor Casey and 7 abstentions. So I do declare that Councillor Daniel Casey is the new elected chairman of Tendring District Council. Councillor Casey will now, the new chairman of TDC, will make a few words.
Councillor Casey, I now ask you to sign your declaration of acceptance of office as the chairman of Tendring District Council, and then please read it out. Thank you very much.
I, Daniel John Casey, have been elected the office of Chairman of Tendring District Council, declare that I take the office upon myself and will duly, faithfully, believe to according to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you, everybody, for supporting me in becoming chairman of this great council. And even if you don't vote, I work hard to represent and support everybody in Tendring District Council. We like to see us all work together for the good of all. This is something which I have seen firsthand on my own ward, Jaywick Sands, since I was elected to represent them in 2010. And it's something I believe that makes us stand apart from other councils. It's always been a pleasure to be part of the council. Everyone is so helpful right across the chambers, from our excellent cadre of officers too. I feel privileged to be chosen as chairman of the Tendring Council, especially to do so we mark 50 years since Tendring District Council was formed, and hope I can serve you all well. As you will know, I thoroughly enjoy meeting people, so I think I will enjoy my term of office. Later this week, myself and Gary Scott will officially visit Germany. This trip is going to be look forward to. We look forward to overseeing our meetings over the coming year. We'd like to invite all members for tea and coffee at the chairman's path after this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Councillor Casey, in being your new chairman of TDC. Councillors, I'd like to thank you all for your support over the last year, and it's gone so quick. Councillor Harris said, and Councillor Platt and Councillor Land have said to me, your year will zoom by, and they are not wrong. It's gone so quick. And I also like to thank those people who've supported my charities this year. Oxford Primary School Swimming Pool Fund and CVST. So I'd like to thank all those people that have supported those charities. It's been an eventful year, going to several flag raising events, attending the Clacton Lions annual dinner, attending Clacton Pride, and this Clacton Pride is growing every year. Councillor Casey has been to many functions with me, such as the University of Essex graduation ceremony, meeting graduates from around the world. We both also attended the opening of the Wellbeing Centre at the University of Essex. Councillor Casey and I attended Jack Peachy Awards in ceremony in Walton and Naze. Excellent achievements made by our school children across our district. There have been many more events both Councillor Casey and I have been to, and many thanks for Councillor Casey for his loyal support over the past year. Such events that I've been to, such as the Tendering Show, Clacton Air Show, judging the best Christmas house in my ward, switching the Christmas tree lights on at the Pointer pub in my ward, and hosting quizzes there, fundraising for my charities of the year. Many thanks goes to my chaplain, Andrew Fordyce, MBE, and Pauline Hart for taking prayers at council and flag raising events. Attending the War Memorial at the seafront has been a highlight in my year and Remembrance Sunday. The Pride of Tendering Awards goes from strength to strength, and our truly wonderful people have won their awards and all the work they've done over the year. So many thanks to councillors for taking part in that event. Finally, I'd like to thank officers and the leadership team, because without the leadership team, the chairman's job is a nightmare. So thanks to the staff there. And thank you, councillors, and all the best to the new chair and the vice chair, whoever that is. Thank you very much.
Item 4, appointment of the Vice Chair of Council for the year 224-225 municipal year. And I have the nominations, please.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Councillor Bill Davidson.
Seconder?
Chairman, I'm happy to support the nomination for Bill Davidson.
Any other nominations? Councillor Henderson, will you speak, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I stand and it's a privilege to be moving Councillor Bill Davidson as Vice Chair to this council for the ensuing year. Anyone who knows Councillor Davidson knows that he has a proven track record on listening to his residents and getting things done for his residents. For example, I'll give you some ideas. One of his pride and joys Councillor Bill Davidson has is the creation of the Parkston Welfare Park. As a non-council-owned park over the years, the park was in a sorry state through the lack of maintenance and vandalism. Bill then formed a committee of volunteers and turned the park into a safe and open playground. He even makes sure that that playground's safe and away from any vandalism by last thing at night closing the gates, and he gets up at first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock to make sure the gates open for people to enjoy, have fun and laughter in that. Through fundraising events all year round, the park is now thriving from the normal play equipment through to a slide that comes down a hill, a zip wire, a 10-piece outside gym. Within the last few weeks, the park has also gained much needed more play equipment for the smaller children to enjoy. And as I said, all he enjoys is hearing the laughter and fun within that park. But as we know, when you're actually funding these projects, you do need to keep on funding. And there is a funny story that his wife tells me that his own house now in the gardens called Tin Can Alley. Bill, along with 2 other members of his volunteers, collects tin cans from right across the district, and they crush those cans, weigh those cans, and make sure there's funds raised to make sure that park survives ongoing. But Bill doesn't finish there. His list and then goes to some of the youth groups. Bill was concerned that young people were hanging around with nothing to do. So he sat down with those young people, and then they told him that they wanted to get involved in kicking a ball around. He thought they were all want to be the old Ronaldos of Parkston. Bill didn't finish there. He managed to persuade Tendring District Council.
Things that those 2 lovely gentlemen over there have said, but he's also done something magnificent within Parkston Art Chapel. He's super proud of that. It was a really crumbling old building, and he more or less single-handedly, with a few people that helped, have brought that chapel back to life. And whilst I'm not a religious person, it's an incredible place. It honours World War I, World War II, the graveyard and all of the surrounding area are so gorgeous. And thank you, Bill. And I really do hope you enjoy your vice chair. Good luck on you.
Any other comments? We go to the vote. Those in favour? That's carried, thank you.
Councillor Davidson, would you like to come up? Councillor Davidson, could I now ask you to sign the Declaration of Acceptance Office and read it out, and I will. Thank you.
I, William John Davidson, having been elected to the office of Vice Chair, Tendring District Council, declare that I will take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. First thing I'd like to say is I'd like to be one of the first congratulate Councillor Dan Casey. I'm the chairman of the Right. I would also like to thank the proposer and my seconder, people that voted for me. I really think, I believe it's an honour and a privilege to be standing here today. And nothing more to say really, I'm getting a bit emotional here. A little more to say, but all I can say is I will do my very best. I will do my best for everyone. Thank you very much.
Announcements by the chairman, I have none at this time. Announcements by the chief executive.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to notify Council that I have been notified this evening with the relevant forms that Councillor Paul Honeywood is now leader of the Conservative Group on Tendring District Council, and Councillor Carlo Guglielmi is now deputy leader on Tendring District. Thank you.
Size of the membership of the committees. Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I think that's just to be noted.
All those in favour? Any against? Carried. Item 8. Report of the Chief Executive. Allocation of seats on committees and subcommittees to the political groups formed on Tendring District Council, and appointment and membership of committees of the Satira for 24-25 municipal year. Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I propose to move items A to E on block.
Seconder.
Second that, Chair.
All those in favour? Carried, thank you. Sorry, is there any against? So it's carried.
Chairman, if I may, just on that one, then we go to, that's A to E, which is carried. You just go to count 8F then, which is the appendix, which then confirms the name. So we're then asking for those in favour of item F.
All those in favour of item F?
One of the benefits of my job is that I can correct the chief executive. With regards to F, we need a mover and seconder to fill the places that are referred to in that recommendation. So if we have a mover and seconder for that item, please.
With your blessing, Chairman, I'm happy to move F, and I'll move yourself to be on the Licensing Regulation Committee and the Miscellaneous Subcommittee. Thank you.
And I'm happy to second, Chair.
Any against? That's carried, thank you. Appointment of the Town and Parish Council Standard Subcommittees for 2024-2025 municipal year.
Chairman, if I may, that on the subcommittee, this will take place at the next meeting of the Standards Committee. You're just noting that this is going to be will be appointed at the next meeting, Standards Committee.
Item 10, election of the chairman and vice chairman of the committees for the 2024-25 municipal year. Mr. Mark Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I am happy to move the attachment on our tables, agenda item number 10, with the proposed chairs and vice chairs. Taking care to mention that the other agenda item on here is Councillor Honeywood and Cousins, the Resource and Overview and Scrutiny Committee, which will be decided by the other side. Thank you.
I'd like to propose Councillor Honeywood as the chairman of the Resource Service Overview Committee. And if you'll accept the nomination for the vice chairman, that will be Councillor Mark Cousins. Thank you.
Seconder. Councillor Bray. Councillor Anderson.
I'm happy to second, Chair.
All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Item 11, report of the monitoring officer, A2, the council's constitution, 17 to 18. Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm happy to move this.
I'm happy to second, Chair.
Okay. All those in favour? Any against? That's carried, thank you. Item 12, reference to the Cabinet A3 timetable of meetings, 24-25 municipal year. Councillor Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm happy to move the recommendation on page 19.
Yeah. Councillor Harris.
If I may be permitted to speak on this matter, please, Chairman, and congratulations on your new role, and to Bill as well. Well, members, I'm a little bit confused about this, and I'd like members to turn to page 23, please. And you'll see a list of all the start times of all the various different committees. And it was only last month that this council voted to move the planning committee start time till 5 o'clock. Because according to Deputy Leader of the Council and Leader of the Labour Group, Councillor Ivan Henderson, we needed to have some consideration for officers that work all day over the hours they possibly should be doing. It is ridiculous, and I think 5 o'clock is the correct time to start. Indeed, this was supported by Councillor Gary Calver, who I have the utmost respect for. Officers are being totally ignored, as if they didn't exist. It had an impact on our officers who had worked an extremely long day and have to concentrate. So, and also Councillor Baker said that this is something that we could revisit. So, you know, what is it then? What time do we have our start of our meetings? You know, the issues that were raised at the last meeting to all of us were potentially health and well-being issues to our officers, who, according to the leader of the, or deputy leader of the other side, said that we should give them total consideration. So my question is, what is it? What is it that we actually want to do with our start times? Does it apply to everything? I mean, if you look at this, you've got the planning committee meeting at 5, the full council at 7:30, the resources and overview committee meeting at 7:30, the council of development session at 6, all members meeting at 6, the community leadership and overview scrutiny committee at 7:30, and the human resources and Council Tax Committee at 7:30. So, officers attend all of those meetings. I can see various numbers of officers here at this meeting this evening. So does the time that officers spend at meetings only apply to the planning committee, or do we have to reconsider the timings of all of our meetings? So I would like to put that question to the leader. Is that something that he intends to revisit at some point in the very near future, considering the health and wellbeing issues potentially that have been raised? Thank you.
Mr. Mark Stephen. Any other comments? Sorry. Mr. Mark Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. I think when it comes to the planning committee, we talked about that enough on the night. That was agreed by this council, and that was the decision that was made. I have no intention of revisiting anything at this moment. I think that's what we've got in front of us. The idea is just to put this through today. And if you've got any comments or anything else, then please feel free to put in an email to me rather than raise it at full council where I'm unprepared for it. Thank you very much.
Sorry.
As I was named, I think it's only right that I respond to that. What we also said that night was, and the leaders already mentioned that this discussion and debate has been exhausted. I mean, there was a democratic decision of this council taken on a night. The member on the other side obviously can't accept democratic decisions. He also can't accept that there was a consultation done, and the majority of the people within that consultation actually said they wanted that change. We had a constitutional working party where we discussed that, and there was not one objection in that. During that time, we went forward with that constitutional decision, which was brought to this council. So I think the member just needs to understand that when we make decisions here and they're carried by a majority, and also when members get an opportunity to have their say within consultations, they either have their say or they abide by the decision at the end of the day. He obviously didn't have his say during that consultation.
Councillor Bray.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for the comments of both the leader and the deputy leader. I don't think we quite got the point. I don't think quite understood what we meant. My colleague, I think, was referring not to the fact that the planning meeting was at the wrong time. We've accepted that. You're quite right. There was a democratic vote. That's accepted. What we are struggling with is the concept that planning meeting needs to start at 5 o'clock in order to end earlier. Yet several other of our committee meetings, and indeed our full council meetings, don't. And that just doesn't seem to tally up. So we fully accept that a vote has been taken on the planning committee. We're fully okay with that. But given the issues raised by particularly the deputy leader of the council in relation to officer time, surely the same then should apply to the other committee meetings and indeed to the full council meeting, which start much later. I think that's the point that we're trying to make. So I think there was a slight misunderstanding of actually what we were getting at there. And I would ask that perhaps that be returned perhaps to the Constitutional Working Party for them to have a look at to see if there is an issue there. It cannot be the case that if it's unreasonable to ask officers to start later for a planning committee, that it's not unreasonable to ask officers to start later at every other kind of meeting. That would be silly. So what we're looking for here is a harmonising, if you like, of the start times for meetings so that they all work in the same way. That just seems extremely logical to me. I appreciate, I don't think quite understood the point we were trying to make, so I hope I've clarified that quite well. Thank you.
Councillor Griffiths.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll stand up. I have to say that I wasn't in favour of the change of the planning time, but there is process. There was a consultation. I voted against it. I spoke against it. The view of the council was different to mine, and as such, it was accepted. This is a democracy, and I accept that. Sometimes when you have a democratic vote, it doesn't go your way. And if you're a true believer in democracy, you have to accept the vote and get on with it. Now, I accept as well that the point was also made that if there are issues, then the administration is open to listening to those issues should there be problems. Should I have a problem in attending the planning committee, I shall certainly be taking up that option. My view is very, very simple. For those of us that work, trying to get from meetings at 5 o'clock is very difficult. In fact, for those of us that work, some of us that live outside the district, trying to get to meetings at 6 o'clock is difficult. And if you're trying to get to a full council at 7 o'clock and you're working outside the district, that's going to make it incredibly difficult for residents to attend the work. Now, my view is very, very simple. I fully endorse the comments made by the leader. There is no need to change. I don't see any reason to revisit it again. Planning is slightly different because of the workload, because of the sheer amount of planning applications that go through. And I think those of us that have been here a long time, except that if you've got a 3 or 4 hour meeting and at the end of it you're looking at applications, especially after you've been sitting on a bus all day looking at various sites, that quite possibly your thought processes might not be as good as when you start at 6 o'clock. To me, it's common sense. I don't believe there's any reason to relook at the times. I think what we have there is perfectly sensible, although I still don't agree with a 5 o'clock start time. And I fully endorse the leader's comments. I totally agree with the current status of what's been decided by this administration. As a Conservative, I believe in democracy. It's a shame that certain people that are independents don't seem to share that view. Thank you.
Councillor Stevenson.
Sorry, Chairman, I wasn't sure there was a question in there. I will just say that Councillor Griffiths picked up a lot of what I was going to say. The Planning Committee is an all-day committee, and it was asked to be looked at by the people who are on the Planning Committee. It was consulted on. We decided on what we would do, and we did that. Now we're not happy with the decision. We're going to try and change it and come from a different point of view. I'm sorry, Chairman, but this is what's happened. And tonight we are setting in place the timetable for our meetings, and that is what I'm preparing to do. And I'd like to move to the vote, please.
All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 13, report of the Assistant Director of Governance and Monitoring Officer, an independent rumination panel, independent persons recruitment. That's Mark Stevenson.
Thank you, Chairman. Unfortunately, the Chair of the Standards Committee, Councillor Talbot, was unable to fulfil his duties for personal reasons, and so stepped down with my good grace. And I thank you, Councillor Talbot, for all the excellent work you did as our Chairman of Standards. We have appointed a new Chairman. It's in the list in front of you. That's Councillor Wiggins, and unfortunately, she's on holiday today. So the job of moving this falls to me as the leader. So I'm happy to move this, Chairman.
All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 14, appointment of a member of the authority representative to serve on the General Assembly of the Local Government Committee. Councillor Mark Stevens.
Thank you, Chairman. As is in the Constitution, I believe, or leader and the deputy leader of the council automatically appointed, and I'm allowed to appoint some others. I would ask, and I haven't spoken to the opposition, as in tradition, I would have done was appoint the leader of the opposition party, but in discussions we've agreed that Councillor Guglielmi would be the third person.
I am very happy to second that.
All those in favour? Against? Carried. Date for the next scheduled meeting of the councillors is Tuesday, the 21st of May at 7:30. Thank you. Now I'm going to close the meeting, but if you'd like to come to the chairman's parlour, there is tea, coffee, biscuits, etc. Thank you very much indeed.
Please be upstanding.